What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode review. This is going to be for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2. This is episodes 3 and 4, I think, Season 2. With me, as always, I have Loose Pate.
Well, I can definitely say that these two episodes of this particular arc definitely reached the peak. 'Cause it was really good by over a variety of standards. So of course the episode starts off like picking up after the events of the last episode, um, which Riko's maid Koroi ends up being tied up and captured. However, they just kind of breeze through this really quickly by like immediately just rescuing her, and they immediately go to the
I was a little bit
beach
surprised by
together.
that. Because the last episode ended on a kind of the cliffhanger of her being kidnapped, and I thought it was going to be like a big deal, and it didn't really end up being a big deal at all because they just sort of burst through the door and rescue her.
So basically, much of this episode, well, actually half of the episode, with was with Ghetto Koroi and Riko spending time together uh, I think it was the islands of Okinawa,
Yeah.
and and of course Gojo is willing to stay a little longer in order to you know let you know let Riko have fun for the time being before they end up taking her to the Jujutsu High. Um, and of course, at the same time, we see Ghetto getting worried about Gojo using his six eyes nonstop for several days straight. Um, Eventually, like they do arrive back at the Tokyo at Jujutsu High to prepare for whatever's next for Riko. However, they're all attacked by Toji, which of course catches Gojo off guard after he gets impaled by him from the back.
Yeah. Um, Yeah, Gojo should have died like quite a few times over in this episode. I feel like just because of how many times he gets stabbed. Um, but yeah, Toji, like it really feels like he pretty much has the upper hand in this fight against Gojo. Like Gojo pretty much destroys everything around him, but Toji is able to pretty easily evade a lot of his attacks. And we also find out
Yeah,
that he has this cursed spirit that is, I think it is an extension of his organs or something. He explains that he uses it to store items in, which
yeah,
I guess maybe that's the explanation of the arc, which is the hidden inventory.
yeah. He says that his cursed spirit has a special ability to forcibly deactivate active curse techniques, like Gojo's, for example. So, Toji's able, overall, the fight itself was brilliantly done and also
Yeah.
very well animated as well. So, it gets to the point where Toji is able to overwhelm Gojo, and pretty much it ends like with him just stabbing his throat, mainly
Yeah.
killing him.
It looks pretty bad for Gojo. But I mean, of course, we all know that he's not going to die. I mean, Gojo is just probably, honestly, the most overpowered character in this whole series from what I've seen, especially after after what happens to him here. Um, but yeah, we also cut back to Geto trying to escort Riko to, I guess, where she would be assimilated into Tengen. Um, and she kind of Geto asked pretty much asked her if this is like what she really wants to do, and I think she more or less says she was because I guess he gives her the choice, like, do you really want to be assimilated into Tengen, or do you want to, like, you know just live out your life pretty much, and she says she wants to live. And then we get another, like, a flashback with Gojo and Geto talking, and Gojo saying, like, if she refuses, that he would just go along with it. Um,
Yeah, I'm surprised that Ghetto is willing to disobey orders,
yeah,
just to allow Riku to live. I mean, it just shows comes to show what kind of person he really is at the time. But by the time, like, Rico is about to make her choice to live her own life, she immediately gets shot in the head by Toji.
I can't say I saw this coming. I guess I should have seen it as a somewhat of a death flag when she said that she wanted to live, because of course, but I didn't expect it was going to happen this quickly. Because I mean, right after that, it feels like she gets shot in the head. I kind of, yeah. I mean, I really just did not expect that, especially with, I mean, especially with the way if you watch the opening, it feels like her character was gonna have a lot more to do, I guess, or that she was gonna be more important, but just seeing her die so quickly, it's kind of like it almost kind of reminded me of what they did with I think it was Junpei in season 1, where the opening
Oh
sort of made
yeah.
it seem like he was going to be, he's going to be an important character, and then they just kill him off. But I feel like the difference is that it just they had more time, like they spent more time with his character, and they sort of went into his situation, but they don't really. I feel like it doesn't really hit as hard with Rico. It's sort of shocking in the moment, but it's almost like if you think about it, it's like I felt like Junpei was more impactful because it seemed like it really did a lot more to trick you with him, and it also made him seem like he was going to be a lot more important. I mean, of course, they tell you Rico is going to be important because she's going to be assimilated, but we just don't really get to spend much time with her character until before she gets killed off.
Yeah, I mean, she's barely in like the first 3 episodes of this arc, and
Yeah.
then and of course soon after that, like Geto is of course shocked at what happens, and of course uh Toji of course like boasts boasts about like not only just killing Rico but also about killing Gojo, which sets off Geto to the point where he unleashes his cursed spirits to basically just go out and kill Toji.
Yeah. And then in the next episode, there we continue on from there with the fight with Toji and Geto, and Toji, of course, again, like pretty much manages to avoid most of Geto's attacks, and eventually ends up getting the upper hand again and just like slashing Geto, and it seems like he could have easily killed him too, but he just decides to leave him there.
Yeah, and so Toji, of course, takes Rico's corpse to the Time Vessel Association to, pretty much to get his payment from them. And I think one of the representatives of the Time Vessel Association explains how their group has evolved over the years, and their obsession with Tengen. But but yeah, that's more or less about it in terms of like what we know about this group. So Toji is, of course, like gets his uh, gets his payment and is about to leave, the association. But of course, he's confronted by Gojo, who manages to survive those injuries that Toji inflicted on him. And so, like, Gojo is, of course, like, he
Well,
like
he explains, of
like
course,
he's
the,
like
the way
yeah.
that I guess he survived with is that he used right before I guess he was stabbed. He used like curse energy to it's like reverse curse energy to help protect his vitals or something. So he used cursed energy to bring himself back to life or something. Uh, I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I was
I
just
mean,
like, come on. Like it was.
I mean, Gojo's at the verge of insanity at this point
Yeah.
from the way you look at him. It's just like he just like doesn't give a fuck. Like he like and soon after like Gojo fights against Toji, he does it so much easier than than when he did the first time. Like and by the end of that fight, Gojo like uses whatever attack he used against him to
Well,
basically just destroy Toji's left side of his
and
body.
I think in this fight we see sort of the origin of his like purple technique or the purple energy that he uses. I think he combines like the red cursed technique and the blue to create the purple. And I guess the purple is like because we see him, of course, use that in season 1, which is like hollow purple.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and like I said, like Toji of course gets overwhelmed by Gojo until like his entire left side of his body just gets blown apart,
Mm.
and eventually like he starts to succumb to his wounds, but he reveals to Gojo that his son Megami will be sold to the Zenin clan in a few years. And like initially, we thought that Toji was kind of a bad father, that he was kind of neglectful to both his wife and son. But we find out he really cared about him this entire time, and he basically wanted to protect Megami from the Zenin clan.
Yeah, because he just says like, "Do what you will with that information." So I guess it kind of explains sort of what ended up happening with Megumi in a way. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
So by the end of this episode, of course, Gojo recovers Rico's corpse, while at the same time Geto arrives there after being healed by
I
Shoko.
should mention too that
Um,
they did. Toji revealed earlier, I guess, that the maid possibly survived or something. Maybe that'll be something important later, but he reveals that she's still alive. I guess.
yeah. But yeah, eventually, like I said, Geto, who rushes to this church to find Gojo carrying Rico's body, and they're all surrounded by, uh, I guess you could say, like, these religious zealots from the Time Vessel Association, just basically just applauding in unison. And and of course, Geto tries to inquire, like, what happened, and Gojo, of course, says, he's got it under control. But before they leave, Gojo asks Geto if they should kill everybody in that room, which kind of shocks me that Gojo would suggest something like that. Uh, Geto, of course, says no, saying that there'd be no point to it. But it just seems like Geto was tempted at at wanting to do so.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised by that too. I was thinking like it just feels like Gojo has just completely lost his mind. Um, I don't know, like because it's like it's technically he's supposed to be a good guy, but it's just like you're kind of questioning what like you're kind of questioning him at this point, like if he's willing to do that or he wants to do that.
Yeah, and I'm guessing, like, this has to be like Ghetto's breaking point of why he ends up leaving Jujutsu High in the first place,
Yeah.
and supposedly it's part of the reason why he becomes a villain around the time of Jujutsu Kaisen Zero. So of course we do have one more episode covering the hidden inventory. At least I think so.
Yeah, it was going to be five
Because
episodes.
yeah, so um, but yeah, that's basically it for the episode. Until next week, I guess.
Hmm.
However, like, there's one thing that we do want to point out, that the that after this week's episode, uh, the show is going to go on break for at least a month.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why. I mean, we know, of course, that there's 5 episodes for this arc, and then after that, they're going to go back to, and they're going to be doing the Shibuya arc. So I don't know. Maybe it could be they need more time, production time for the Shibuya arc, and that could explain it. But not really sure. I mean, maybe it's just they possibly need more time to work on it or something. But I'm not. That's
Yeah,
what I could guess.
it's just the following three. I think that the following 3 weeks after this week's episode is just they're just recapping everything from ranging from the hidden inventory, Jujutsu Kaisen Zero, and the Jujutsu Kaisen Season One over the course of the following 3 weeks after this week's episode.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't have too much else to say about this episode. I was kind of shocked, I'll be honest, with what happened with Rico. Of course, all the fights were really well animated, especially just I mean, this director is pretty good, I guess, with motion or just like doing like really fast moving scenes, and you can kind of see that in some of the fights with how fast like people are getting thrown around and stuff. I was pretty impressed by that. Um, but yeah, I don't really have too much else to say though. I don't know if you would have anything else to say.
Yeah, it's one of the best episodes ever since the season started.
Yeah.
Uh, definitely, like, one of the highlight episodes in which showcases, like, like Ghetto's like eventual turn I guess you could say turn like to the dark side or something like that.
Yeah, like is becoming a villain, I suppose. Um, but yeah, so that all being said, guys, until next time, we will see you all later.